Welcome back, everyone. We're going to see out the show with a little bit of wine, a bit of food and a bit of racing chat as well. Dave Yates still here, Paul Nicholls, Dave Cross, and we've been joined by the wine tipster Neil Phillips and Elli Morgan as well. Welcome along. How's things?
Thank you. Yeah, good. At the moment, yeah.
You are Team My Racing Manager.
Yes. Yeah.
Now we had a chat. Was it the Friday?
Sandown, yeah.
And the whole team were very happy there with the performance of the horse. But I guess this is a sign of you guys growing and branching out with different trainers as well. Elli, it seems to have gone really well.
Well, it's going really well. You know, it's great fun. It's exciting. We do small syndicates. They're only sort of 4 to 6 people, so everyone's very involved and it's very collaborative. So. Deafening Silence is obviously our rising star at the moment, and we're quite surprised he's gone so quickly. But it's very, very exciting.
So Dave, the thing is...
Not happy.
Hang on.
Sorry.
Out of all the guests you could get on this week, you got these two guys on upsides us. Not happy.
Yes. So
and Paul, you're probably not happy either.
Paul trains Insurrection, who was second to Deafening Silence. Of course, you own the horse. Well, what I would say is that you've been sat in here for an hour next to me, and these guys have come in 2 minutes, and I've already got a glass of wine in my hand. So
right. We'll be fighting at the end of this.
It's like that in our syndicates, you see. It's great fun.
Just before we come to the race, how similarities and differences between the two syndicates, if you like. Are there many different ways, do you think, of approaching a syndicate, and why does your way work so well for you?
Well, I think there are lots of ways of approaching syndicates. I think moving forwards, it is all going to be syndicates. It's a great way to get involved in racing. The level of involvement is sort of it depends on how many people are in it. We do quite small ones. Yours are a bit bigger, aren't they?
Yeah, we do 10 and a lot of syndicates actually do 20 as well, so it's even less cost price then as well.
Sort of 100 plus.
Every syndicate does it differently, different ways, and there's no good, bad.
Do you limit to 10? Sorry, do you have a maximum of 10?
Oh, maximum 10.
Or is it always 10?
Always 10.
Okay.
Always 10, yeah.
And you will take a certain amount, but single figures?
Well, I manage 4 specific syndicates, and then I set up the My Racing Manager Friends ones, and in those ones I buy the horse and then sell shares, and they're usually 20 or 25% shares, and sometimes we keep one, and sometimes we sell them. So
because you've also had the likes of Flying Tiger in the past, which was a different.
That was Macaroni Beach Society,
and the other
Q-Star Civilla.
As
he's
well.
Babbitt Racing. They're a husband and wife team, so that's a very small partnership.
So it's just that you manage them, but they're different variety.
Yeah,
of
I source the horses as well, so not Q-Star. I can't take credit for that one. But what a fantastic horse to be involved with. So
and obviously Funnable, which you did source. Yeah, who's been absolutely brilliant. It was great to see him third yesterday. I didn't need to mention because
he ran quite well.
We got there from a ways yesterday. He was right back to where he should be.
He's our flagship horse, really. Isn't he?
He's a little pocket rocket.
He's great.
Yeah. When he's good, he's great, isn't he? But we've had a bit of a difficult season last season, so it was nice to see him firing again, which was really good.
Yeah, it was great, and it's interesting actually just to say you know this, Crossy, because just about communication about everybody's in a syndicate. When you've got the smaller syndicate, look, big syndicates are great as well. I used to be in elite racing years ago.
Yeah.
So, but actually with 4 or 5 people, on the WhatsApp, we actually had Tim, who's got a share in Funnable Civilla. He actually suggested going for the Game Spirit, and Elli and Venetia said that's a great idea. Yeah. And here we are, 2 Game Spirit chases later. Yeah. So that is really great.
So it's very collaborative when it's smaller. Actually. So I think that's the appeal.
Have you got more syndicates in your yard than ever before now, Paul?
Yeah.
And why do we think that's just racing now?
Yeah, it's just the way it's going. It's got displaced in racing. Obviously, it's working well. And most of I've got, I think, 15 or 16, might be 17 now for the owners group, and that's a different concept in there. For example, let's take Stage Star. I think they sell 2,500 micro shares in those horses, and those guys all think it's their own horse and have amazing fun. And the communication and the information they get is second to none, and it definitely has its place and is going forward and going well.
I can't remember whether it was trials there, where was that where Stage Star won last year before the festival? Yeah. And there were loads of them there, and one of the first things you said was, "How great is this?" Because they were going bonkers just outside the paddock. And that obviously gave you a great sense of satisfaction training for lots of different people who it meant the absolute world to them.
Yeah, and then when he won at Cheltenham, and again when he won the Paddy Power Gold Cup there the other day, the reception again, and I think nearly everybody owned a share of him was at Cheltenham when he won the Paddy Power, and it gives a lot of people an enormous amount of pleasure.
I agree, and it's interesting actually because with Funnable Civilla, all the owners, and they never had a horse before. So it's their first show, which is really,
they got lucky.
Yeah, they're having a great experience. But it's just showing just all across all the ranges, isn't it? Which is great.
I feel because we're sat here with a glass of wine, we should actually say what we drink. What is this?
This is Châtelet. So I wanted to just make a link as well. We've got Susanna Ritchie coming on in a bit to talk about her Yates Courts wines from Kent. And I wanted to actually, this is Lord and Lady Bamford, obviously big racing connections there. Yeah. And this is Châtelet, so in Provence. You know, we love rosé. Paul loves rosé, don't you, Paul?
Yeah, I do.
He's mad about rosé. But I mean, it's interesting about how popular rosé is all the year round now. And this is their flagship wine. So they bought the vineyard in 1997. So they're great.
So here's an interesting. So I went to I had some drinks last night. Very in bed early, but went over to someone's house, and I've got some Rock Angel at home. And I thought, I'll take a bottle of that. It's a nice bottle. Yeah. First thing they'll do is Google how much it costs, and they'll be like, oh, that's a nice gift. Because that's what you do, right?
Well, this is what happened.
Yeah. But then I thought, no, they'll be thinking, 26 quid, fair play, even though, you know, got it for nothing. But that's not the point. The point is, do you take a rosé to a winter dinner? And then I thought, that feels weird.
But I don't think it is anymore, Tom. No, I think this is the really interesting thing, because some people have said, why has Provence rosé got so popular? We've all been on holiday, sitting in Provence going, this is great, well, we have a €2 glass of rosé. But in actual fact, if you look across sales, actually across the Jockey Club racecourses, rosé is selling all year round now. In the November business, loads of people are drinking rosé, people drinking Whispering Angel Magnums. So I think, you know, go for it. I've always loved rosé personally all year round. The only thing I would say is when you take a bottle of wine round to someone, if it's in screw cap, just unscrew the screw cap when you arrive, so you know you're actually going to drink it, and it's not going to be put somewhere that you can't enjoy it, or take a corkscrew.
That's a good tip.
I'm quite ruthless about it.
Tom kept a cap on yesterday.
I took a bottle of Chapel Down, which I thought was very nice.
Very good.
20% off and then an extra 10% for signing up to the website. But when they Google it, it looks very generous. So there we are. Dave.
Might they not think that you've drunk and refilled it with perhaps our social circles might be a bit different, but I think that's probably the finger that would be pointed at me if I went in with something that's already been unscrewed.
That's such a good line.
Right, let's have a look at some of the key horses in the syndicate. So first of all, Deafening Silence did beat Insurrection. This was on the Friday. Obviously, it wasn't as testing ground as it was on the Saturday, but still, it took a bit of getting. I think the consensus was, Paul, if I can just start with you on your horse Far Side, that you'd probably been outstayed in the ground over the trip. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think he was outstayed from the back of the last. The winner there's like just galloping on resolutely. I thought here we'd win, and we just got outstayed. He'd been on the front end most of the way. I'd say ran a good race. Both horses are nice horses. I think your lad beat Wrapped Up in May. Actually, the time before that, isn't he?
Right,
yeah, and we like him. So it's interesting.
You must love seeing your colours stay on to victory in a race like this. What do you think is going to happen next with him? Because Dan was. I think he was surprised by the win, but I think that he feels that this is a horse. I don't think he'd been disappointed if he hadn't won on the day, because he sees him as a future staying chase.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the moment we probably would stay in graded company and try our luck, but we'll see. He's mentioned a few races, but I'll leave it to him to decide nearer the time. But he is a horse for the future, really. But he's just got such a great attitude, and he's tough, and we're very lucky.
He does look like a proper Albert Bartlett horse all day long. Dower.
That has been mentioned early on. I'm not sure if it's. I don't know.
No, he'll 100% turn up there. I'd say he looks an Albert Bartlett every day of the week.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Crossy, because he's also looking to the future as well. He just looks a real chaser too.
100%.
He's got a great, and he's point-to-point winner. Great to be talking about point-to-points as well.
Well, he was bought from the British point-to-point field as well, which is really important, I think, for us as a sport, to notice that they are, getting good horses on that field as well.
Seeing a few more of those now, but we're not quite at the point, Yatesy, where the scene is completely changing, are we? I mean, we're a long way off the Irish point scene, aren't we? It still feels that we house more of the older horse as opposed to the young up-and-coming horse in the point-to-point.
Yeah, I think that's true, but we've had graduates from the British point-to-point scene over the last decade, haven't we? Like you say, when you look at a horse's a novice hurdler's form and you see a point-to-point purchase and it's 6 figures, it's invariably come from Ireland, hasn't it? But the gap is narrowing, isn't it?
It is, but it needs more trainers training point-to-pointers over here. That's what it's lacking. You have 4 or 5 yards like Tom Ellis, Charlie Post, just to name probably the top few, and there's not enough competition. We bought Rebels Hill out of an English point-to-point. We bought one other who hasn't been as good, but it needs more competitive. Like there are 4 or 5 runner races. As where in Ireland you're struggling to run your 4-year-old because there's so many of them. Like most of the point-to-point trainers have 50 to 70 each, and there's probably 15 of them that are properly in the business doing it. Do you know what I mean? So it's competitive. As we're over here, it's probably not as competitive, and we need to get the British point-to-point scene more competitive. Hopefully, like Charlie Post, hopefully a few ex-jockeys will go down that route. It'll make it more competitive, and then that'll make better horses coming through then as well. And we won't be like, we look at Irish point-to-pointers every day of the week when we're buying horses, you know.
Where did you get Tamuras from? We could have
he actually came out of an auction maiden. He won a point-to-point. Now I say all this, that was actually a 4-runner race, and the form of the race there was nothing came out of it. But you never look at form too much in point-to-points. Look at the individual. We loved him in his point-to-point. He was always idling in front, only ever doing enough. We see him here winning the Tolworth. His first 3 runs last year, he just progressed, and he was showing more and more speed as the year went along. He actually is a good jumper, despite that jump there. But he's always a horse. I've sat him at Paul, sat him at Knowles. He'd always just give you what you'd ask him to do. So I was always surprised by the way he won a Tolworth, because I wouldn't have thought that. We do have him in a 2.5 mile race later in the week, but I think we need to probably go up and trip with him now.
Definitely.
What's he likely to do next, Paul?
He's in Ask on Friday, but that's unlikely. There's a 2.5 mile novice chase at Leicester last week of December. Go there, step him up in trip, as Dave says.
Okay. We can talk more wine now, and Susanna Ritchie joins us, who can tell us about her vineyard and talk about some horses as well. And Susanna, welcome along. There's obviously a direct link with the horses and the wines, because most of the bottles are named after your horses. How's things?
Good, really good, thank you. Yes, so the branding of our wine is fundamentally the still wines are named for racing terms, and our sparkling are named after horses that have won well for us. So I think you're drinking this morning one of our Pinot Noir, which is called Starter's Orders, and that's really because the first vines that went into the ground at the vineyard were the Pinot Noir vines. And so we kind of thought that Starter's Orders was an appropriate name for that. And then I think you're trying the Pinot Gris later.
We tried 2 different ones from This is fantastic. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, you get 2 wines, yeah. Which one are you starting with, the Pinot Gris?
Beautiful. Neil, which one are we starting with?
We've got the Pinot Gris. We've got the Loose Rain Pinot Gris.
Okay. Loose Rain, yeah.
So this is obviously a passion of yours, Susanna.
The wine... I kind of walked into it, really. I was offered the farm next door to our house, and I didn't really want to buy the farm. I mean, I know nothing about farming because I'm an accountant, but the farmer was retiring. He asked me to buy the farm, and then once I'd bought it, I kind of thought, well, now what am I going to do with it? I've got to farm it. So I took advice, and the land there is perfect for vines. So I've kind of grown into it, and I absolutely love it now.
And as far as the link with horse racing, was that just sort of too obvious for you to pass up and to tie the wines in with the horses and the success you've had? We're seeing some shots now.
Yeah, it is really. I mean, when you're looking to start up a brand or a new venture, you're looking for something that just makes you a bit different. And of course, you know, the interest in horses, it's really all about the pink and green, you know, our jockey colours. There's our horse. I took the jockey colours of pink and green and the spots and kind of translated that into the branding. So it's the spots, the colours, bright colours, which I love, as you can see. and then just the names of the horses, the jockey terms, I suppose. Just it all kind of just gelled together.
Neil, you can describe this for us, please.
Well, I've been down to Yotes Court. I think it's a fantastic setup, and Susanna, you've done all your wine courses. You've got a fantastic vineyard manager as well down there with all the team, and the detail that you've incorporated here. So this is a Pinot Gris. So for some of you have a Pinot Grigio, it's the same grape variety, but this is sort of sitting in the middle. You get Pinot Grigio style, and also you get a Pinot Gris from Alsace. So there's no oak in this. It's all sort of fresh. Lovely sort of citrus fruits on the nose, some pears, very delicate, very easy drinking, and beautifully made as well. It's all to have a taste, actually.
Yeah, I already have, but that's that.
Tom always loves going in first. He's already done.
But I'm also white for me. I'm just not a red fan, but white, that's very nice.
It's really nice, isn't it?
It's just great with the whole development, and I love. Susanna, you've got Pinot Gris, you've got Bacchus, which is really our kind of Sauvignon Blanc from England, and also what you're doing as well is you've got your Pinot Noirs, you do some sparkling now, so you've just kept developing things, haven't you? And also as well from people visiting you as well, people can just come along and taste, can't they?
They can, yeah. I mean, we're shut now the first 3 months of the year because really not an awful lot goes on in the vineyard that people are that interested in. I mean, we're pruning. But that takes 4 months, and it's just every vine gets about 90 seconds of attention and gets pruned. But there's no leaves, there's no it's not particularly beautiful at this time of year. Just looks very neat. But between I think we're opening again in Easter, so between Easter and December next year. We will be open Wednesdays to Sundays, and you come do tours and tastings and wine flights, picnics in the vines, all that kind of thing. It's so we love having visitors, but we're kind of tucked away. This is the problem; quite difficult to find. So we're just outside Tunbridge, about 7 miles from Tunbridge in Kent. So it's when we're a taxi ride from a station, so you need to kind of organise a driver, really.
Naturally. I don't suppose many people would rock up in a car each if they're going to. You want to be able to enjoy yourself.
We do have parking.
Oh, well, good. That's good. And was this pretty risky? I don't know whether setting up in the UK is just pretty risky.